Chat with Pat.
Yes, and today we have with us Kate Wicker. Kate's an author, a speaker, a columnist, and she's the author of two books, Weightless and Getting Past Perfect. And she also contributed to the handbook for Catholic moms. And she and her husband Dave have 5 children. And we're talking about, it's an older article that I found on the Catholic Digest website, but I found it so intriguing that I just wanted to talk to her about the whole concept. And the title of it is called Marriage Wisdom. Welcome, Kate. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, good. I know I'm kind of dragging you back into an old article here, but I'm sure you can give a lot more insights since you've written this article. Because what I loved about this, I just loved the title, right? Marriage Wisdoms. And so you had interviewed like 16 couples. I think it went from like a year of marriage to 57 years of marriage in these couples that you talked to. And what kind of was the wisdom that they would pass on? After, now I know that was a number of years ago for you that you did this article, but what do you see in your life and in the couples that you have surrounded yourself with as being wisdom that you would pass on to the generation coming up?
Yeah, and I think that two of the couples, one was me, and the other was my parents, and they're celebrating their 55th on
Oh,
August 21st.
wonderful.
Yeah, and then I think I was married about 10 years, and I'm now 24 years so
Wow.
married. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I think a lot of the things that article, the couples shared, and what I personally have learned, a lot of it has it's amazing how it kind of stays true even over the
Yeah.
years. Putting just love first. If God is love, then
Right.
bringing God into it and loving as well as you can, and offering that unconditional love. But one of the big things for me remains keeping a sense of humor
Oh, yeah.
through hard things. And I know my mom has had some health issues and was recently in the hospital, and I went to go visit her, and my dad was there, and the nurses were just kind of marveling at us because we were all like joking and
Yeah.
laughing, and even the situation at hand, just kind of joking, well, Dad's gonna have to do this for me now, and and just to see that and the laughter. And that doesn't mean that you use humor to cover things up.
No.
You certainly have time to cry and to pray and to do all that. But just knowing this is the one life we've got, and when bad things happen, it's awful. But if you can try, and the old cliche, take the lemons and try and make a little lemonade, I
Yeah.
do think that makes a huge difference.
And I
And
I
then one
think
thing that
no, I was
go
just
ahead,
going to say,
sorry.
don't you think humor helps you keep things in perspective too? You can,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
because sometimes you can get so bent out of shape about something that really isn't that big a deal. And if you can kind of keep a humorous attitude toward things, and see the funniness of a situation, it helps you to kind of back off and not get too upset. So go ahead, Kate.
Yeah, I remember we had one summer that was just like our basement flooded, our refrigerator broke, and then we ended up having baby bats in our house. And because
Oh,
I had children, and you can't tell if they've gotten bit, we had to all get rabies shots. This was
oh,
years ago. And pay for the rabies shots, and there are a series of shots, and
yeah,
I had 4 children at the time.
ooh.
And I remember just thinking, oh my gosh, I'm either going to like collapse and cry, or I'm going to laugh at this. Like, who has all of this happen? And
Yeah,
then the animal control needed us to put some of the bats, and I felt so bad. I'm like, they're these little mammals, but put them in Tupperwares and on our porch to come. Then I had like Tupperware with bats in it. I was just like, this is
crazy.
surreal. And
Yeah,
and of course, the refrigerator broke right after I'd done a huge grocery trip and spent
oh,
all this money. And
yeah,
so, but I just remember thinking, we are in a position that those groceries, it stinks and it's going to put a little dent in our budget, but it's not the end of the world. We can still feed our children. This is going to be a funny story later
Yeah.
on. And sure enough, one of my daughters later wrote a story. She got it mixed up as a child and said we had fruit bats, and
Oh.
said thankfully we did not have flying foxes through our house. But she wrote this story for school, and now that we laugh, we talk about it, and that's like a memory that in the moment was like thinking, how am I going to get through this? And now it's something that we all just are like, oh my gosh, remember that summer? So we survived, and it was funny. And so sometimes in the moment you have to keep a sense of humor and remember that if you can get through this later on, this is going to make a great story. And maybe that's the writer in me, but just trying to find the wisdom in it and also the humor in it, and just know that someday you're going to have a different perspective on everything. So that's a really important thing. Something that has been a little bit more challenging as my kids have gotten older is, and you would think that it would get easier, but it's just finding time for my husband and me. That's just time for me. And I think because kids stay up, I have two kids in college, but they're all home for the summer now, and they want to come talk to you at like 10 p.m. And then I do still have a younger one that gets up early, and then I love it that they come to me with things, but they all, you're kind of on call 24/7, and then there's so many activities. Just I have kids who play sports, and it's like, okay, when can we find even an at-home date night, like just to connect? And so that's something that has become more challenging, and I'm sure it'll slow down again once my nest is truly empty. But just being intentional about putting your marriage first still, I can see how easily, if we weren't intentional, it would just kind of totally get pushed to the back burner, and then we could find ourselves with the kids out of the house and kind of feel like strangers to each other because we hadn't, intentionally made the effort.
Yeah.
So that is definitely something that I have to be more intentional about, and that has been a surprise to me because I thought it would get easier as the kids got older, because I wasn't like afraid. I didn't want to leave my babies and things like that, but we were able to have at-home date nights, and the kids went to bed at 8, and it was just different.
It is. You're in a different season now, aren't you? That's for sure.
I am.
Well,
every season's hard, just different.
It's just different,
hard.
One of the couples in your original article had mentioned that they had no long-term plans. And I found that didn't come up a lot in what people were saying. But I found that very intriguing, because sometimes I think if you're too set, we've got this plan for our life, and something doesn't, bear out, then it just provides more frustration. How do you see wisdom in how do we handle plans, but not plans set in concrete in marriage?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that is a great nugget of advice. I think, like what you just said, the balance is you certainly don't want to have any, like, totally put your finances like, oh, we don't have to worry about our finances, or, oh, we don't have to save for retirement.
Right.
So there has to be, some level of planning. But then also, I know I have had to really, and this is when you kind of let go and let God, the control freak in me has been broken, and I think God knew I needed 5 kids, because I'm just like, nothing's in my control. Like, every day is different. And so I think that is really important, to just kind of have some goals in mind, but also know that the path is going to be circuitous. Can't talk this morning, but it's going to wander around, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And to be flexible. But that's hard.
Yeah, it is. Well, Kate, we are already out of time, but thanks for being with us, and have a great weekend ahead, all right?
Thank you. You too. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.